good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to another video. Today we got a great little tutorial. This is something I haven't done in a long time, but I am going to be teaching a routine that I created in the Sleight Off. Now if you guys don't know what the Sleight Off is, it's a series that I run on the channel where myself and other magicians, we compete, we challenge each other to create effects using different restrictions, different sleights, different plots, and it's a great series. Haven't done one in a long time for various reasons, but I'm really working hard to bring season 3 back soon with some special guests. So this is going to be from season 1, episode 4, where I had to create an ambitious card routine with no double lifts, using a classic pass color change and a cascade control. So I will be honest with you guys, I don't think this effect is great in the sense of, you know, as a standalone effect, the way the phases were layered, and using some of the sleights in the way they had to be used for the challenge, there was better alternatives. But what I do think is valuable is some of these moves are really, really unique. So I think this video is going to be a little bit more like 5 unique ambitious card routine moves, because I think each one on their own has some value, and you might, you know, find some that you want to include in your ambitious card routine. So I'm going to teach you these moves, some of them in a little bit of detail, some of them in more detail, because some of them I think deserve their own video. So if you guys would be interested in that, just let me know. Now, as always, if you want help with your own ambitious card routine, if you want a custom ambitious card routine built to your strengths and weaknesses and the effect you want to achieve, you can hit me up for a private lesson down below where I offer custom effects, custom lesson plans, where we work through these plans to get you to exactly where you want to be, working on all kinds of amazing magic. So anyways, guys, let's get into it. 5 unique ambitious card routine moves that you may have not seen before. So if you guys want to know what this effect looks like, you can go check out this performance in the Sleight Off episode 4. But the reason I'm not showing it in this video is because I'm just going to kind of highlight the moves that were used, as I think they're pretty neat. So there's essentially like 6-ish phases to this effect. One's kind of just like the opening phase, but they're all great. So I really want to talk a lot about the first phase. The first phase uses the auto index, which is something that if you haven't seen, I would recommend you go check it out. It's one of my favorite moves that I've ever come up with. It's lethal, super versatile, super powerful, and one of my favorite videos on this channel. So the auto index essentially allows you to control any card from a completely shuffled deck almost instantly without the spectator knowing. Also allows you to perform vanishes as clean as handing the deck to the spectator, having them shuffle it and name any card. You take the deck back and you go through the cards and show them that the card they have named has completely disappeared. And while that happens, you also get the card under your control. I want to talk a little bit more about that because I don't feel like enough people have seen the value in this move. So essentially what I do in the effect is I have a card on a random generator, but in the real world, you would have a spectator name a card. So quickly, to get in position, you want to have about 13 or 14, really as many cards as you can in your right hand spread, but you have to be able to see the index of all of them. So for me, I can get about 13 or 14, about a quarter of the deck. And then you push off as many as you can, about 4 typically, with this thumb. So now you're looking at about a third of the cards, right? You know, about 18 cards you can see instantly. So if they name any of these 18 cards, you instantly know where it is. So let's say they name the 4 of hearts. What I would do, and again, go check out the auto index tutorial if you want a detailed version. If they say the 4 of hearts, I would instantly see it, and I'm just holding these right at eye line, so the spectator can't quite see them, and I have a good view at them. So they say 4 of hearts, I'm gonna put my thumb on the queen, which is right next to it, as I come down, and I reverse spread these cards, okay? I reverse spread them. Now I place these on top, and the 4 of hearts, I can now drop in to like a call position and shift it to the top of the deck under my control. So that is one scenario with the auto index. So you're using the deck in play to index a named card without them knowing. Now the psychology is huge with this. So you need a sort of a reason for spreading. So typically I say, now look, all these cards you can see are completely different. This deck is completely shuffled, but I just want you to name any card you want. And they say 7 of clubs, and you say perfect. You could have named any card, right? As you can see, like I said, all these cards are different, but you said the 7 of clubs. And now I can move into any effect I want with full control over the 7 of clubs without them even realizing that anything has happened, right? You build all of this into a nothing moment, and they forget about the fact that you even had a chance to look at the deck. Now, the next scenario that could happen with the auto index is that the card is over here in one of these 4 cards. So it's a very similar thing. So let's say they say 3 of hearts, which is right there. Then instantly I spot the 3 of hearts. I put this on top, as I come down into view and my thumb moves to the 9 of spades next to it, and I'm gonna cull out that 3 of hearts. As I say, you know, again, you could have named any card, flip the deck over and it's under control. So at a bit of speed, I say, you know, you could have any one of these cards. Which card do you want? They say the Jack of Spades. I say, perfect. Now you could have named any one of these cards, right? It's truly a free choice. Jack of Spades is under my control. And that happens about, you know, a third of the time because the card is in view. So how my eyes move, they say whatever card they name, and I start at the 6 of diamonds, and I zip across and zip across, and in less than a second you can quickly look for the card you're looking for. Not only, you know, when they name it, you know the color, you know what you're looking for, so it really stands out. So if they say, you know, 8 of spades, boom, I see it instantly. It's instant, literally instant, and then you just come right into view and do whatever move you need to do to get that card to the top of the deck. As long as there are cards at the bottom, it doesn't matter how many cards you have. So if it's 9 of spades, you just break off at that point and you reverse spread here. The 9 of spades is at the bottom, so you can, you know, bring all of these cards almost to the top as you close up, and the 9 of spades will still end up on top. Now the last two scenarios is if it's in the second third or the last third of the deck. So second third, it looks like this. So let's say they say Jack of Diamonds. You say, Jack of Diamonds, is there any reason you chose the Jack of Diamonds? And you're just gonna respread the deck and essentially do a cull. But again, your scripting is important. So it's spread out. They say, let's go King of Spades let's go 4 of Spades this time. So you have the deck spread out. You say, all right, so name any card you want. They say the 4 of Spades. And then this is kind of how the scripting would go. So I'd say, 4 of Spades, interesting. You could have said any one of these cards, right? They're all completely different. It's your choice. Is there any reason you went with the 4 of Spades? Let them answer, and that builds some time misdirection, and you have control. So the mechanics there, the second they say their card, I always say, interesting, 4 of Spades. And that's when I get my first glance, and I either break apart to do the reverse spread, or if I don't see the card, then I'm coming together and pushing over so that I get the second third into view, and I scan the second third. And that all happens almost instantly. So they say, you know, 2 of clubs. So I say 2 of clubs. Interesting, you could have said, you know, any card, as they're all different. And I have my second third spread. And if I see it, then as I come down into view, I'm just gonna block it. I don't even need to cull it. So let's say it's the King of Diamonds here. So again, the movement on this is King of Diamonds. Interesting, you could have said any of these cards, and here I've spotted it, and as I come down into view, I just move the 10 over top of the king. Over top of the king, execute the cull, and close up instantly. The goal here is always to close the deck as quickly as possible, so that they don't even remember it was open at all, right? So the less seconds it is open, the better off you are. So if they say, let's say 6 of clubs this time, I'd say, okay, 6 of clubs, perfect. You could have said any one of these cards. Of course, they're all different, and I have it under my control. So the third third is exactly the same as the second third. It's just an extra spread. So what that looks like, let's say they chose the 9 of spades. So you say, okay, 9 of spades, perfect. Is there any reason you chose that card? It's a good choice, 9 of spades, but you could have, you could have had any one of these, and I get it on top. So again, the mechanics slowed down are this. I say, is there any reason you chose that? As I spread the second third slightly to myself. If they say no, then I say interesting, and I kind of come into view for a second. And I say, because you could have chosen any one, and I come back up and spread the last third to identify where that last card might be, execute the cull, or just block it as I come down into view, then do the cull and flip over. The last thing you want is them to see their card, because then in their mind, if they see it, you can see it, and you can then control it. So I'm going to be in this position. They'd say the 4 of hearts. I say the 4 of hearts. Perfect. And of course, you could have named any one of these cards because they're all different, right? It's your choice completely. And they have the 4 of hearts. And keep in mind, that was the worst outcome. That was all the way near the top of the deck. Most cases, it's something like this. They say 5 of spades, you say 5 of spades. Interesting, because you could have, named any one of these and they're all different, and you have it under control. So that's a brief overview of the auto index. It can also do a great vanish and all kinds of other things. So go check out the full tutorial. And I also talk about it in my, I think, street card to box part 2 video, I believe. That's more on the vanish aspect, which is great as well. I use this actually often as the opening phase of the ambitious card, because you say, all right, so we need a card for this, so name any one. They say King of Clubs, you say perfect, King of Clubs. Now remember, you shuffled this deck and you could have named any card you want, any one at all, but you said King of Clubs, watch. And I snap and it comes to the top, right? So I'm just locating it, shifting it to the top, and then I place the deck down, I talk a little bit, I remind them, I recap, and I get my hands very far away and let them flip this over, and that, you know, completely adds to the psychology and makes them forget the fact that I ever had the deck even spread. That one was pretty long, but the other ones will be pretty quick. So the next control I used is the Cascade control, or a variation on it. So this is actually more of a Victoria control than a Cascade control, but it's very similar. You take the king of clubs, push it into the middle of the deck, and it comes to the top. Now, if you guys would like a full tutorial on this, let me know, because I think it does deserve its own. But essentially what's happening is you put the card in the deck, and then you're sort of doing like a DPS. So you get that little corner sticking out the back, okay? So you take the card, angle it, push it through, so you have the corner, and then this pinky is getting on top of it and pulling it down like this, and it's pulling it out and to the top, and that's all happening at the side as you dribble the cards. So in this, you want to get good at, you know, if you can dribble the cards like that, doing the same thing but from the side, and flicking the cards off the thumb, and they fall like this, but they fall in a nice waterfall from the side, and I also add a little curve to it if you want. So now you just combine those actions, DPS, but again, it's just, now I'm just pushing it down and in like this, so I have the corner at the bottom. This pinky now pulls down as I bring the deck up and I start to dribble, and it pulls the card right out, and everything else falls in that V there. So quickly from an exposed view, and everything falls in. One more time, and everything falls in, and you have the control. The next control I want to talk to you about is Chris Ramsey's seamless control. So this is another control that I absolutely love to use in my ambitious card routines. So if you're not familiar with it, you take a card, place it in the middle, you can see it right there, push it in, and just like that, it is still controlled to the top. So it's an awesome control. You can go check out my tutorial on the seamless control and my handling on it. Again, sticking with the nature of this video, I'm just going to give you a really quick rundown of the mechanics, but I would recommend you go check out that detailed tutorial. So what you do is you take a single playing card, you place it about halfway into the deck, and now you're going to be holding this in a bit of a mechanics grip, right? 3 fingers on the side, thumb along this edge, index finger out here, just loosely on the card, or you can curl it up underneath. Then what happens as you tilt to show that that card is still in fact their card and it hasn't been switched, you're going to put your middle finger on the front, thumb on the back, index finger here, and pull all of those cards above the selection back until it clears the selection. Once that's happened, you're going to use your index finger to push one card forward. Okay, and then if you squeeze with the thumb and the fingers here, it's going to cause the selection, you can see it's going to bow a little bit, right? So right here, that selection, if I squeeze, bows a little bit, and that's going to allow that card to slide underneath. So pull back, and then you're going to squeeze a little bit, and it's going to cause this to lift up a little bit, you can see, and then you're going to use this finger to push this one card underneath. Right, so it all looks like this, but you're really here. And then as you come down, you pull the selection back and push hard with this back thumb, and it'll cause another card to get pushed out, or another couple of cards, but they're hidden underneath, but one card to get pushed out in its place, which then you push into the deck, simulating to be the selection, while the selection is actually controlled to the top. So to show you that from an exposed angle, and you push it in to the middle just like that. So that was the next move that I had used in this particular effect, in this particular ambitious card routine, and it's one that I absolutely love. So after that, I had to use the classic pass. Now the classic pass is not something I use, it's not something I really enjoy, but it is something I do practice. So I don't have a great pass, and in the performance, I definitely don't think it's very good, but it was the move that I was challenged to use for this challenge. In the performance, the selection was turned face up and left in the middle of the deck. Random card was turned face up on top, and the cards changed places, and just using a pass. So if you guys would like a video on my tips and tricks on the pass, because I do have some unconventional ideas and thoughts and ways to do the pass, and the way that I do it is a little bit different than I've seen taught in a lot of places. I have a couple pretty neat variations on the way that I actually handle the pass, especially if you have a card that's higher up in the deck, and I'll show you it a couple times here, but it really just looks like the card kind of melts to the top of the deck, and that's because I'm not actually passing the entire deck. I'm just passing a small portion of the deck. What I'm actually doing there, and this is how I often pass a deck, right? If you have a big chunk of cards on the bottom, or the top for that matter, you're gonna have to, you know, be pulling either a large chunk to the bottom or moving a large chunk to the top. And regardless, having a large chunk of cards is a lot more difficult than if you only had to do a pass with, you know, a small amount of cards. It becomes a lot easier. Like if you've ever tried doing a pass with just one card, I mean, it's easy and it looks good. So I thought, why can't we do this with a full deck? So start by placing that card maybe a quarter of the way down. So maybe there's like 13 cards or so on top of the selection, and you're gonna hold a pinky break. All right, now when you go for your pass, you're just gonna lift up about half the cards, okay? So you're gonna get your pinky jammed in there and these two fingers on top. That's how I do my pass, but whatever grip you use. Now, when I go for the pass, I'm literally just lifting half the deck and I'm pulling this underneath while I lever this up, and just simply doing a shift of about half the deck, and I leave the rest of the cards in place. And when I do that, the pass happens a lot quicker, and in my opinion, it looks a lot better and a lot smoother, right? So again, what I'm doing here, if you see exposed, right? So I'm just moving that top packet and about half of the bottom packet, and they're trading places, okay? A couple other tips on the pass from me quickly, and again, if you want a full video on me teaching my classic pass tips, let me know. But I'm gonna pull the deck slightly back and over, and this top hand comes over top for a split second as that packet gets out of the way. So it's on top, it comes over, packet's out of the way now, you can see it moved, and now that whole deck comes back into view and everything is hidden from the bottom. I also tend to come forward a lot, sort of like in my Herman pass video, which you can go check out, and that just helps with better angles. So those are a few tips on the classic pass from me, but I have a whole bunch more tips in line with this, and I'd love to go into more detail on it if that's something you guys would like to see. Now, I think one of my favorite controls and something that I came up with for this routine was the sort of slap move, and I thought it was really, really neat, really cool, and it fit well in the context of the routine. So the original handling for the slap move has changed, because when I originally came up with it, I came up with it in, you know, a day or so, and I didn't have much time to play with it, and I just filmed the routine. So let's say the 2 of diamonds is the selection, Jack of clubs is on the bottom of the deck. Place the 2 of diamonds on top just like that, and all I have to do is come in and give the cards a little bit of a rub and a slap, and just like that, it looks like the 2 of diamonds has made its way all the way through the jack, when in fact, it's actually went much further than that. Because if I come here and we take a look at the top of the deck, incredibly, the 2 of diamonds has made it all the way through the deck to the very top. So this move is fairly difficult, but it has a really nice visual and a really nice payoff, and I love the slap effect. So like I said, it's changed quite a bit from that original performance just to be easier, more practical. But essentially, quickly, what you're gonna do with this move, you're gonna take the selection, and I like to point out the bottom card, so I'll just say, you know, we got the 3 of spades on the bottom, we'll take the Jack of clubs and place it on top. Right, that's all you're doing, decks face up. Now you're gonna come through and do a color change we're all familiar with, the Erdnase color change. But the difference here is, one, you want to make sure you come over top so they don't see any of that card being pushed forward. In some cases, I like to show it being pushed forward and do the change with the card, you know, out jogged. But in this case, you want to come over top so they don't see that card move. You're going to steal it out, and you're going to use the edge of the deck to push that card up into palm. Okay, now you don't want to come too far away because you don't want to flash this edge, so you come away, and then you're going to square this back up with the deck as this hand comes forward for a second and gets ready to do the slap. Okay, so that's essentially what's happening. So at an exposed view, this card comes forward, this gets stolen and popped up into palm using the edge of the deck here. You get a hold of it, this comes forward, and you do the squaring, and then you're gonna slap that card on top. And that's gonna give the illusion of the selection at least penetrating the top card, okay? And we're gonna use that to our advantage in a second. So again, 3 of spades on top. We're gonna come in, slap, and it looks like it goes right through the deck or that bottom card. Now what you're gonna do is a drip double. So you're gonna dribble while saying it looks like the 3 of spades has went right through that Jack of clubs, and you stop, but you've actually stopped on a double. Okay, so what you're doing is it just takes a little bit of feel, dribble, 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 and you riffle off the thumb, and you get a feeling for when you just have 2 cards, right? So now you've stopped and you've concealed the selection. It also can help to peak as you have the selection in your hand and you say the 3 of spades on the bottom of the deck and the selection's the jack of clubs, it's helpful to peek that 3rd card from the bottom, or 2nd from the bottom, but 3rd once you place the selection on. So then you know when you've achieved your drip double, just to be, triple sure. So you throw that on top. Once again, we come in, we do the palm and the slap, change or slap illusion. Now we're going to come through and say it looks like that jack has went right through the 3 of spades. And now I'm just looking for the 2 of hearts, and also, I have a feel built up, so I know when it is. That time though, this is a little bit of a thinner stock, so sometimes I'm not sure. And I saw the 2 of clubs, so I know I needed to go at least one more to get to the 2 of hearts. Now I know the selection's right here and I have my drip double. Now I say, but it looks like it went through the 3 of spades. That's what I say while I'm dribbling. And then I place this and pin it with my thumb. This is a double. And I say, but it's actually went much further. I put this hand over top of the card to block it, and while I do that, the thumb is going to retract this card to the top of the deck. So this comes here and this comes here. Now you're in this position, and you're going to come through underneath, and you're just going to straddle this and straddle pass it to the bottom of the deck in the action of flipping the deck over. So let's do it with the 2 of hearts this time here. So you come here and you say, you can see it's actually went much further. And in that action, I have this out jogged, hidden. And now when you do this, you want to pull out and back. So out and back this way so that it clears, and that'll prevent common flash of this front edge here if you pull back like that, okay? So I kind of turn this into sort of like a straddle pass DPS sort of type thing, where I come here and I push it out, and then this card comes out and back, and then I go straight into the flip. So the mechanics on that, the card's gonna be out jogged, 2nd from top, you're gonna pull it out and back underneath, and then as you're doing that, these fingers are going to grip everything and flip the deck over. So one more time, Erdnase change, but you want it to be hidden. Get the 2nd card into palm, do a slap, say it looks like that card has went through the 4 of diamonds, but actually it's went much further. And I transfer the double, pin it with the thumb, come over top, and I say if we actually take a look at the top card of the deck, you can see it's went all the way through the deck. Okay, so that's the move. That's a quick explanation. If you'd like a more detailed video on this control, please let me know, and I'd be happy to go into more detail on this control or any of the other controls. But quickly, I just want to talk about the last control I did, which is called the Uzumaki, which is a Dan and Dave move. I'd highly recommend you guys go check it out. I will link it in the description. It's great. I'll just do my best. I'm not very good at it. I'm actually kind of bad at it, but it's very, very difficult. So, but essentially it's a rising card move. So you have the 6 of hearts on the bottom of the deck, and then it kind of rises up as you spin it each time. It gets higher and higher until it makes its way to the top of the deck. So that's the Uzumaki, and that's how I finished the routine. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. This was a sort of 5 unique ambitious card routine moves, and also a bit of a tutorial from my routine from the Sleight Off episode 4, which you guys have asked me to teach. So like I said, if you'd like more detail on any of these controls and you'd like a full video on the Victoria, I've already taught the seamless control, but if you'd like my instructions on the classic pass or some more instructions on that slap move, let me know and I can make a more detailed video on those. And if you want any more hands-on help where you can really take your, your skills to the next level, check out the link below for a private lesson and we can set that up. So as always guys, I want to welcome all the new subscribers and thank you all for the support, for the likes, for the comments. Let me know in the comments what your favorite control of these 5 or 6 were, and please don't overlook the auto index because it is the one of the most versatile moves I've ever taught on the channel. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And with all that said, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.